What if the richest lesson of your life didn't come from a mentor, a TED Talk, or a best-selling book, but from a homeless street artist with nothing but charcoal and truth in his eyes? Tonight's story challenges everything you think you know about success, wealth, and human worth. It's not another motivational cliche. It's a real encounter that reshaped the heart of a powerful man who thought he already had it all figured out. Stay humble. A rich man's lesson from a homeless artist will make you question who's truly rich, why humility feels foreign to so many, and how a single moment on a side street can change the trajectory of a life. Ever wondered why some truths only hit you when you least expect them? Stick around. This is one ride your soul won't forget. Hey guys, today we're stepping into a city that gleams like a trophy case. Mirrored skyscrapers, spotless Teslas, coffee shops where the foam art is more skilled than most resumes. It's morning. Not the kind that drags, but the kind that struts. Clear sky, power suits, gold watches catching the sun like they're competing. You're here for business, the kind of business where names get dropped like confetti, and the louder your laugh at lunch, the higher your net worth must be. You walk with purpose, phone in hand, notifications pinging like applause. Everyone here looks busy, polished, important, including you. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is in your part of the world. I love picturing this little global sleepover we're having. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You've come to finalize a deal, a property purchase for your expanding chain of boutique hotels. You've got the money, the lawyers, and let's be honest, the ego that comes from knowing you can buy half a city block and still tip your driver $50 without blinking. You aren't a bad person, just successful. The kind of successful that makes humility feel more like a quaint accessory than a necessary virtue. You tell yourself you've earned this life, because you have. But lately, something's been off. You eat in nice restaurants but barely taste the food. You have friends. Sure, but none you'd call at 2 a.m. unless your Wi-Fi was down. There's an ache, not sharp, just persistent, like your soul's sitting wrong in the chair. Still, you push through. Today is about winning. Another building, another headline. You've scheduled a walking tour of the Arts District. You don't care about murals, but it's adjacent to the property you're buying, and you figure it's good PR. And that's where it happens. On a narrow side street wedged between a vegan shoe store and a pop-up espresso bar, you see him. A man hunched on a milk crate, canvas on his lap, charcoal-stained fingers moving in small, deliberate strokes. He's got layered clothes that don't match, a knit hat pulled low, and eyes that don't look up, not even when people walk by and pretend not to stare. His sign says, "Portraits for any price," even if it's nothing. You pause, not because you want a portrait, but because something about him doesn't fit the background. He's not desperate. He's not selling. He's just drawing. As if the city around him is noise and he's tuned to a different channel. A woman with a toddler stops. She kneels beside him. Her daughter giggles. The artist smiles gently and starts to sketch the child's face. Soft lines, kind eyes, as if he's seen her story in a glance. The mom offers $5. He waves her off. "You just gave me joy," he says. You feel it then, the tiny crack in your marble shell. You walk on, but slower. You find yourself circling back around later. You tell yourself it's for curiosity, maybe for the story, maybe for content. But when you approach, he looks up, and for the first time, you feel seen, not as a bank account or a brand or a LinkedIn profile, but as a person. You don't even speak. You just sit. He nods and starts to draw. There's no performance in his process, no show, just charcoal and focus and a stillness that makes the noise inside you go quiet. When he finishes, he hands you the paper. It's you. But not the version you post online. It's the version that stays up late wondering why joy feels like a stranger. You ask, "How much?" He shrugs. "What's it worth to you?" You hand him 100. He tears it in half. "Let's call it 50 for the drawing," he says, "and 50 for the reminder." "What reminder?" you ask. He smiles, small and sad. "That your worth isn't printed on paper." You don't post the picture. You don't talk about it over cocktails. But that night, lying in your hotel suite, you stare at that sketch like it's something sacred. You wonder why it moved you more than the $1 million property you closed on hours later. A few days pass. You fly home. You try to forget, but you can't. The memory itches, like a missed turn or a word on the tip of your tongue. You find yourself walking slower in your own city, looking at faces instead of screens. You even Google street artist charcoal like the internet can explain what happened. And then the internet does what it does best. You open a trending post, a photo of a ripped $100 bill, half missing. Caption: "Met an artist today who gave me more truth than my CEO ever has." The post explodes. Hundreds of comments. "I met him too. He made me cry in public. Why does this stranger know my soul better than my therapist?" The story spreads like wind. People call him the homeless Da Vinci, the pavement philosopher. Someone starts selling t-shirts with his quotes. A viral video clips together dozens of his sketches, each one paired with whispered testimonials. He never speaks online. He never capitalizes on the fame. He just keeps drawing. Authors still debate whether humility is learned or revealed, whether people become kind through suffering or despite it. But you, sitting alone in a home that echoes too much, start to believe it's both. And here's the kicker. No one knows his full name, just the street corner, the art, the feeling you get when you leave his presence and suddenly want to be a better person. You start carrying that portrait in your briefcase. You don't show it. You just know it's there. A mirror, a reminder of who you are when no one's watching. You try to shake it. The whole mystical artist changed my life vibe feels a little too fairy tale for your liking. You've worked hard. You've made sacrifices. You built something from ambition and caffeine and the ability to smile through meetings that felt like slow death. You're not going to let one man with charcoal under his nails and paint on his shoes undo decades of identity. And yet, you walk differently now. Not literally. You still stride like someone who has places to be and people to out-negotiate. But inside, something's shifted. You notice things. The woman who picks up trash without being asked. The barista who adds a heart to your coffee foam even when you don't tip. The janitor who whistles as he cleans your building lobby at 10 p.m. You've started wondering who's really rich. You go back to that arts district. Not once, not twice, multiple times. Always walking, never in the car. Like some part of you knows you have to earn the moment. But each time you reach that narrow street, the crate's empty. The sign is gone. It's just pavement again, just noise. You ask around. People remember him. One cafe owner says, he'd come around sunrise, said the light told better stories at dawn. A florist adds, he never took the roses, always sketched the thorns. One guy mutters, he scared me, honestly, looked at you like he already knew what you regret. You laugh, because yeah, it felt like that. Weeks pass. Then one morning your phone buzzes. A friend sends you a link. It's a photo album someone posted online. Dozens of charcoal sketches, all anonymous faces, all raw, quiet, powerful. The caption reads, he left town. Said the city had finished its lesson. There's your sketch, right there, titled The One Who Forgot. That one hits deep. You stare at the screen longer than you mean to. The comments pour in, people searching, people sharing their own encounters. One person writes, I offered him a job. He said he already had one, reminding people they're more than the title on their email signature. Another, he didn't save me. He He just made me want to save myself. The internet does what it does. It memes him, worships him, forgets him, recycles him. But you keep his sketch in a frame now, right above your desk, not as decor, as a compass. You stop by an art gallery one afternoon, just a soft rain kind of day, nothing planned. Inside, people drink wine from plastic cups and nod at abstract paintings like they understand them. You're about to leave when you hear two curators whispering. Yeah, he sent a package here. No return address, just a bundle of sketches and a note. What did the note say? Wealth fades. Art doesn't. You smile. Of course it did. Later, you call your assistant and cancel a lunch with that venture capital guy who only ever talks about himself. You walk to the park instead, sit by a fountain, watch people, really watch. A dad tries to braid his daughter's hair and fails adorably. A woman feeds pigeons like they're old friends. A teenager sobs on a bench, mascara running, phone in hand, heart probably shattered. You think, maybe I should sketch this. You don't know how to draw, but you start carrying a small notebook anyway, and suddenly you're writing again. Not emails, not presentations, just thoughts. Little sketches of the soul. A few weeks later, a story breaks. A pop-up gallery opens in another city. It's small, curated, untitled. Inside are portraits of everyday people. No names, no backstories, just moments. Each sketch comes with a quote, something the person said or maybe something the artist imagined they would. Yours isn't there, but you recognize the hand, the style. You fly there, quietly. No entourage, just you. You step inside. A man nearby asks if you want help. You shake your head. You're already being helped. Midway through the exhibit, you stop in front of one drawing. It's a woman in a fast food uniform. Her head tilted slightly, eyes closed, like she's listening to music only she can hear. The quote below says, "I'm not what I do, I'm what I survive." You stare at that for 10 minutes. Someone posts a photo of the exhibit. It goes viral naturally. The caption is, "This isn't art, this is oxygen." Twitter runs wild. A fashion brand tweets, "Can we collab with him?" A wellness influencer says, "This is what mindfulness looks like." A teenager edits a TikTok with dramatic music and a slow zoom into a sketch of an old man holding a daisy. It gets 12 million views, but you're not interested in the hype anymore. You're thinking about the woman in the drawing, about the quote, about survival. You go back home and start calling people you haven't spoken to in years, not because you want to fix everything, but because silence no longer feels like strength. It feels like dust. Authors still debate whether ego is the enemy or just a misunderstood tool, whether pride builds resilience or buries empathy. But you now believe it's all about balance, like trying to walk a tightrope with humility in one pocket and confidence in the other. The next time someone asks how you became successful, you answer differently. Not hard work or grit or the market was right. You say, "Someone drew me once, reminded me who I really was." And they look at you weird. But that's okay, because you've started measuring wealth by what you give away, not what you keep. You don't tell many people this, but there are mornings now when you wake up and the first thing you do isn't check your phone. You lie there instead, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house breathe, the soft hum of the refrigerator, the distant traffic, your own pulse. It's strange how silence used to feel like wasted time, and now it feels like a teacher clearing its throat. Work still exists, deals still close, numbers still climb. You didn't sell everything and move to a monastery. Relax, you're still you, but the sharp edges have dulled. You don't introduce yourself with your net worth anymore. You don't dominate conversations. You ask questions, and when people answer, you don't plan your reply while they're speaking. You actually listen. Revolutionary, I know. One afternoon, you're invited to speak at a business conference. Big stage, big lights, big applause. The kind of event where confidence is currency and vulnerability is usually hidden behind buzzwords. You step up, adjusted mic in hand, looking out at rows of polished faces, waiting for the usual formula. You surprise them. You don't start with your success story. You start with a man on a milk crate and a ripped $100 bill. The room goes quiet. You tell them about the portrait, about the words. Your worth isn't printed on paper. You talk about how success felt loud but empty until humility taught you how to hear again. Some people shift uncomfortably. Some lean forward. One guy in the front row nods like you just named something he's been hiding from himself. Afterward, the clip goes viral. Of course it does. A short video of you saying, "The richest lesson I ever learned came from someone with nothing," racks up millions of views. Comments explode. Half praise you, half accuse you of performative wisdom. One particularly angry comment reads, "Easy to say once you're rich." You read it, and instead of getting defensive, you think they're not wrong, and that's progress. You keep going, quietly. You fund an arts program, anonymous. You sponsor shelters, but insist the credit goes to the organizers. You commission portraits from unknown artists and hang them in your office, not because they're trendy, but because they remind you who walks through your door when they're nervous, hopeful, pretending. One evening, months later, you're traveling again. Different city, different hotel, same kind of restlessness tugging at your chest. You decide to walk instead of ordering a car, and there he is, not exactly where you left him. Different street, different crate, same charcoal-stained fingers, same stillness, same eyes that seem to recognize you before you say a word. You don't say his name because you still don't know it. You just sit. He looks up, smiles, the kind of smile that says, "I was wondering when you'd stop running." He sketches again, slower this time, more lines, more depth. When he hands it to you, it's different from the first. You look older, softer, lighter. You reach for your wallet. He stops you. "This one's already paid for," he says. "With what?" you ask. He taps your chest. You listened. You laugh, a real laugh, the kind that doesn't need witnesses. You never see him again after that. No viral posts, no farewell message. He fades back into the world like a lesson that knows when to leave. And that's okay, because the lesson stayed. You understand it now. Staying humble doesn't mean shrinking yourself. It means making room for others, for growth, for the quiet truth that worth has nothing to do with height, titles, or balance sheets. Authors still debate whether humility can survive success, whether power inevitably corrodes empathy. But you're living proof that it doesn't have to, that wealth can coexist with gentleness, that confidence doesn't need to shout. And when you look at your life now, not the highlights, not the headlines, but the small daily choices, you see it clearly. The richest man in this story was never the one with the money. It was the one who knew who he was without it. And somehow, by learning to stay humble, you finally became wealthy in the ways that matter. And now, gently, let everything slow. The city dims, the lights soften. The noise fades to a low, steady hum, like waves far away. You're no longer walking those streets or sitting on that crate. You're here, safe, still. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath stretch out. There's nothing to prove tonight, nothing to earn, no one to impress. You've already taken in the lesson. Picture that charcoal drawing one last time, the simple lines, the honest gaze. Feel how it didn't judge you, just reflected you. That's what humility does. It doesn't take, it gives clarity. Tomorrow, the world will ask for your attention again, your ambition, your energy. But tonight belongs to rest, to quiet understanding, to the peace that comes from knowing your value doesn't rise or fall with applause. Stay here a moment longer, breathe, sleep knowing you're enough, exactly as you are. And now that you've walked this path, watched a successful man confront pride, rediscover humanity, and learn the true meaning of worth, ask yourself, what lessons are you ignoring in your own life? If this story stirred something in you, whether it made you smile, tear up, or sit with honest self-reflection, let that feeling grow. Like this video, if humility changed the way you see success. Share your feelings in the comments. Have you ever met someone who quietly transformed you? Subscribe for more powerful stories that challenge norms, touch the heart, and stay with you long after the video ends. Because sometimes the person with the least material wealth teaches the richest lessons. And staying humble might just be the greatest triumph of all.